What is going on, Buff Nation? Welcome back to another video. It's a bye week. That doesn't mean we don't get juicy. That doesn't mean there isn't drama, right? There's always nonsense happening. I do want to talk a little bit about what the Big 12 looks like. We got a big week, and obviously every week that we have now, there's going to be some ruffles and change of direction of how the Big 12 could shape up. But obviously, the point of conversation now is, okay, the Buffs are going to make a bowl game. Is it playoffs? Is that the question? We got to talk about it. This was brought to you by BetUS. Before we do any of that, roll the intro. I flushed my juice down in the club. Yes, sir. Good to see you. Welcome back. So, the drama that's been just spewing all over the place, obviously, Shedeur Sanders and Cam Newton situation. Cam Newton finally had his opportunity to speak about it on his 4th and 1 podcast. He addressed it like I thought he would. Look, he kind of said that, yes, it was awkward. You know, there was definitely some beef there. And there was never a moment of taking accountability. It was like pushing it, but like taking it, but also kind of like trying to scoot around it was his take on it. It's like a 7-minute spiel of nonsense. That's how I took it. I think he was trying to defend his statement. I just rewatched the clip because I'm like, maybe I misinterpreted his 3-minute like dogging of Shedeur Sanders. Maybe I misunderstood it. And it was partly kind of his co-host saying like, look, like you played in a harder conference, you did these things. And he was, in a way, was bringing up of like, what has Shedeur Sanders done that has separated himself to be that dog? You know what I mean? And was kind of saying like he's not likable in comparison to Travis. It was a weird conversation. Like none of it was really needed. Again, I don't know how they got to that point. It was just a clip of the conversation. They knew what they were doing. Ultimately, you can't say he's not likable and then try to compare him to you and say that he hasn't done anything and then not expect him not to act a certain way, which we've said these things. He even said, look, I just didn't feel like talking to him right then and there. It has been going everywhere. Cam has always been one to be in the front of things, in the forefront of wanting attention. I think that's what all of this stemmed from. To be perfectly honest with you, it's you've got somebody who loves the limelight, who has always been him, in a way, has always been the guy, right? Wherever he's went at Auburn, he became that person. And then from that moment on, it was the Cam Newton show. We're doing this, we're doing that. And he played for Cam. That's always been Cam's motto. I don't believe Shedeur plays that way. I think that people try to paint that on him, given the aura of Coach Prime is very loud, but Shedeur has his own style and swagger about him. Look, he's got, don't get it twisted. He can flex on the best of them, but he definitely navigates himself differently. And I think, honestly, it's grown man just getting a little worked up about it. That's how I see it. You got older guys, they get flustered with the young guns coming in. They'll never admit it. They'll be like, nope, you're sensitive. He tried to blame it on generations. Look, is it a miscommunication of generation? I think it's a little bit of both. It's crazy. I'm tired of talking about it. I'm ready to get back to the football, but it's bye week, so we do got to talk about it. Travis Hunter was on a podcast with Destroying, and there are a few things that I want to go over that he said. First order of business is that he would love to play for Denver because he loves where he's at currently. He would love to play for the Broncos in the NFL. Being a Jags fan, I know the Jags, there's a possibility they get a very early first-round draft pick. Hey, D. Hunter, let me get that 12 jersey, that top shot, let me get one of them. I would love that. But we'll see how that plays out. But man, that defense for Denver is electric. It is disgusting. It would be cool to see him play with Sean Payton alongside Bo Nix as well. But something else that he said that this is why I love Travis Hunter, the bland Travis Hunter that we all like to discuss here. His mentality, man, is so fantastic. It is so refreshing in this world of college football, in this world of NIL, where it's just all about the money, all about those things currently. Look, in a good way, I think these kids should get paid, but there's levels, there's ebbs and flows to it, right? The quarterback situation at UNLV with Matt Shluka, where he left because of an NIL dispute. I'm not saying the kid wasn't right, that he should get his money that he was promised or signed for. That part is a gray area as well. If you haven't checked it out, you got to look at it. There's so many moving pieces. There is no black and white to it. He said that he was promised $100,000. The other side saying that he came and asked for more money once he started to perform better. And then he just said, hey, I'm done. I'm done. I'm going to quit. I'm not going to play. Since that moment happened, I've been Team UNLV because I want to see the second guy step up and they go, we're cool. We don't need it. We're going to rock and roll. And they went out there and kicked ass, and now they're ranked 25th. Love that for them. And Travis Hunter kind of pumped on that same horn. He goes, why quit on your team? He's like, I love it. He goes, the second or third string comes in, and now they went out there and tore it up. Because I love it. He goes, the bigger picture, the bigger focus. And again, this is where NIL is important. It can make a difference in your life. It can allow for this stage of your life to be so much greater than whatever it ever intended to be or what it was prior to this. And that is fantastic. But this was never the end goal, and it should never be the end goal. And your decisions shouldn't all just be surrounded about getting a couple few hundred grand. Once you pay your agent and taxes, you're getting rowdy about $30,000. Which, look, I'm not saying that's nothing to write home about, but you were cooking at UNLV. An opportunity, and you played a Trinity Christian Catholic something before that. This kid Matthew Shakeup, an opportunity to maybe go on and be a backup, get drafted, sign a $250,000, $1 million deal to be a backup for 10 years. I mean, there's so much more to it. And that's kind of what Travis Hunter was saying. It's like there's much more to college football. And again, that's why he went to Colorado to play for the best coach. He goes, I had plenty of opportunities to go play elsewhere with bigger NIL opportunities, but I came here because I understood what it was. And look, we have a whole other video that's got to come out because the recruiting has been nuts this week, which you love to see. There has been such great momentum headed into this week. We've talked about it, especially after that UCF game. The ton of recruits were there, and they are capitalizing tremendously on the noise that kind of ramped up during that week, and it ramped in perfectly into a bye week where you can start flooding timeline, flooding information. There's offers, there are official visits being lined up for Kansas State game. Like, you have an opportunity to build up the rest of the year for schedules, and now Colorado is being in the conversation of like they may shock some people. We've been talking on the show. We saw this. We foreseen this happening. Again, I had predicted UCF rolling into this 4-0, right? That was kind of my initial. I said Kansas State and Utah, and I believe Oklahoma State are my three games that I had circled of like, okay, these are going to be the ones that we have to come over. I'm not as concerned about them now, but before the season started, those were the three-headed monster that I had written up. So I said 9-3 was kind of my original thought, and that looks very doable, if not more now. So, but look, I want to show you this. This is what's interesting here, because of course this show is brought to you by BetUS. When you go to BetUS.com, use the code YouTube150. Your first two deposits, you get back 150%. On your third deposit, you get back $125, up to $2,000. The reason I bring this up is because we slammed, and I told you guys to hammer home the plus 14. Go get money line on Colorado, because I mean, you didn't have to, but the plus 14 was disgusting. I felt like it was very disrespectful last week. There's another opportunity here. Colorado's plus 2,600. This was at the beginning of the year. This is an old graphic, okay? Plus 2,600. It has now risen to plus 1,300. They're still behind the likes of Utah, Kansas State, Iowa State. Texas Tech is ahead of them. They're 4-1. They will match up at some point. Very similar style teams, high tempo offense. But I believe Colorado's defense has some shinier moments. Kansas State in this Colorado game, we're going to talk next week, is going to be so fun because I think they mimic each other to an extent, but offensively, Colorado is way more electric and exciting. Defensively, I think they kind of have the same. They're ranked very close to each other. So, but I think Colorado is making strides and finding a rhythm. But plus 1,300, huge opportunity there to see how they could really rock and roll with that. Now, look, let's talk about how the rest of this year is going to unfold. Okay, that complete game against UCF is going to be something that we talk about for this week and going into next week, because that was, again, and everybody's saying it, everyone saw it, is like that was the best we've seen Colorado from start to finish all the way around. If that's what they give you, if that's best case scenario, I think it could get better. It could also get worse, and I'll get into that. If they give you that for the remainder of the year, you've got to think 10-2 is in the books. 10-2 because, look, one game you could slip up, okay? Maybe another game, 9-3 could. That's just the name of the game, okay? Because someone else could have a better weekend that weekend. That's why I love college football. Being realistic here. But if they play like that for the remainder of the year, that's a playoff caliber team. We're talking some big time stuff. That's a Big 12 championship being there. Okay. Now, obviously, everything changes as the weeks go on, right? And we'll know more as we find out about these teams. So that to me is not necessarily the bar, right? That's not like, okay, that has to happen every single time. That's not realistic. College football teams don't come out there and play on all cylinders at all points. But I also think they can get better. I don't think they were fully sound on offense. I think that it functioned very well, but Shedeur Sanders had a quiet day. He can do more if need be. The need be wasn't there. I think defensively, they had times where they could have sharpened. Again, complete game, there was areas for growth, but there's areas where they could get exposed too, right? There's a very fine line. So if that does become the standard, that's scary for the opposing teams. Okay. So that's what you have to look forward to. But I really think what I think people notice is like, we saw the most complete game, but we've also seen times where this area of the game or of the team was better, and we've also seen times where this area of the team was better. If both of those sync up, okay. If this stays here and this one plays here, okay, right? That's where this team is now starting turning some heads a little bit. Okay, it's week in, week out, right? You got to take it week by week, and I think that's what's exciting too. This team is, even Coach Prime, you've heard in his presser, it feels different. Last year, I mean, you're coming in, you're excited, you start off hot, you're rocking and rolling, you feel invincible, and then you get absolutely punched in the gut, and it's a weird situation to handle. Prime Jr. said, look, he loved the fact they lost to Nebraska. There is something special about losing games in college football, and now with the new age of it, with the playoffs, before losing games were just, they could ruin a season. But now you have an ability that it's okay to bounce back. Georgia losing to Alabama, that's a little secret sauce for a little recipe that could really stem up and bite somebody in the ass going against that Georgia team. You find something out about yourself when you lose. You're able to look in your mirror, and when you lose a close one like that, it's like we weren't that far off. A couple things here and there, we win. That is if you're Colorado, a fantastic place to be if you can digest it properly. If you're on the other side of that, woo, buddy, it's a fun place to be right now. It is exciting to watch. Again, this team really seems to be dialed in. Everybody is trying to throw distractors at it. Coach Brown's not going to be there next year. Ain't nobody give a shit about that right now. We are playing football for today and tomorrow and Saturday. That's all we're focused on. And they're so dialed in and so focused that it's starting to spread again into recruiting. It's some good stuff. I'm loving it. Again, I hate that it's a bye week because I just want to see what's happening here. I'm ready to lock in and just keep talking about it. Because also, too, when you take a look, I was looking at the Big 12, like, okay, what do we got this week that could tell us a little bit? West Virginia, Oklahoma State gives me absolutely nothing, although West Virginia is still favored to win the Big 12 over Colorado. Keep that in mind. They're 3-2, and they're favored over Colorado. Just sleep on that. Don't yell at me to digest it, okay? Digest it. You got Texas Tech, Arizona. That's a big one. That'll tell us a lot. Arizona takes down Utah. Arizona gets clapped by Kansas State. Both those teams are one of the two top 10 teams. Texas Tech is kind of quietly getting it done right now. You could put them in the category of Colorado. They're 4-1. High-tempo offense. Nobody believes in them yet. Although they do have them rated higher to win the Big 12 than Colorado. This will tell us a lot. I think this will tell you how Colorado will vote against Arizona. I think it also can give you kind of a foresight. For fans, this is how we look at these things, right? Baylor, Iowa State. We know what Baylor does. Iowa State is going to king cobra your ass on defense. Colorado doesn't play Iowa State unless it's going to be in the Big 12 championship. So the game to me is nothing, does nothing for us. Then you got UCF and Florida already handled UCF, Kansas, and Arizona State. Kansas 1-4. They're a complete joke, so that should be an easy dub. So that's where we're at. I'm loving it. We'll continue to monitor this situation very closely as we head into the following week. But you good. Be sure to smash the like button, subscribe. The family has grown tremendously over this past couple of weeks and this season, and I greatly appreciate it. I appreciate your comments and your feedback and your support. It means the world to me. I enjoy making this content. I love it, and your comments of saying, hey, you do a great job, literally brighten my day, because sometimes there's a lot of negative ones that throw some shade, and that comes with the territory, and I've learned to grow with it. So, but I like to make sure that I appreciate the good ones. So, love you guys. Be sure to smash the like button, subscribe. This show was brought to you by BetUS, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace and love, baby.